Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought it's the right season now as we're all
Buying so many things. We're thinking about gifts for people.
where I wanted to reflect on what are some things that I buy that actually make me feel like I live in luxury. And bear in mind, these are not things that are very expensive per se. Some of them are a little bit more expensive, some of them are very affordable, but it's more about the feeling that they give you and yeah, just like the vibes of luxury that they allow you to create for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, the first purchase that I've started quite recently actually is not something that I used to do that much before, but I have a cleaner that comes. I have a very tiny apartment. You're seeing a little portion of it today. I live in London, for those of you who don't know, where, yeah, I live by myself, which is a luxury in itself for sure. Probably should have included that in this list that I prepared. But I don't have that much space. It's a one bedroom. It's probably 30 square meter. However, I have a full-time job. I have hobbies such as this that I like to keep up. I have some friends. I have family, that I want to see, etc. So my time to me right now at this stage of my life is quite valuable, and so should yours be. But luckily, I'm in a level where I can afford, if I break down what my hourly rate and purchasing power is, like how many hours does it take me to buy 1 hour back of my time, if that makes sense. So I can afford to outsource some of these things that would take me probably 4 or 5 hours, to completely wash and clean, and clean up my whole apartment. But it takes a professional just 2 hours. They're super sufficient, super efficient, and yeah, they get the job done much better. And in the meantime, I can keep working. I can do like a coaching call. I can film a video, or maybe not film a video, but I can script a video and things like these. So definitely cleaner for me, something that is worth my money and really frees up a lot of my time. And side note, one thing that I really encourage you guys to do is calculate what your actual hourly wage is. So how much is your time worth? Because you'd be surprised at how what the number is. I think regardless, hopefully in a positive way. Sometimes I guess in a negative way. But then the reason why I'm saying it is because regardless of what that amount is, it will make every purchase feel different. And what I mean by that is that if you know that, let's say, your post-tax hourly income is £50, right? So in any given day you earn £50 at the end of the day for 1 hour. All of a sudden, expenses that maybe before you wouldn't even like thought twice about spending £50 on going out for dinner or buying like a shirt or something. All of a sudden you can picture that and just like, okay, would I be willing to work for 1 hour of my time to buy this thing, or to go out to see this play or whatever else? And if the answer is yes, happy days, fantastic, go ahead and do the purchase. But you will maybe find that sometimes some purchases, all of a sudden, if you think about how much time it would actually take you to make that purchase, all of a sudden they're not as important, right? You don't feel like you have to really do them or have the item, right? So yeah, just a frame of thoughts and something that has really helped me kind of like be a little bit more cautious, or also be more convinced, right? Because maybe, I don't know, you want to buy like a £500 laptop, right? And you would be willing to work like 10 hours for the laptop, and then it kind of like solidifies the reason why you're doing the purchase in the first place. Nice. So without further ado, second item, and kind of like speaking about more materialistic things, Nespresso coffee machine. Oh my god, I adore the thing. It's out of frame right now. I'm not gonna show you. Maybe I'll insert some b-roll in here to show you the machine. But it's just such a simple machine. Cost me probably 80 quids. Probably got it off Black Friday last year. And it's one of those things where like just even the routine, the habit, the ritual of making the coffee. And I don't even make it every day, right? Because I go to the office, I get my coffee over there. I'm not really a coffee snob, so I don't really care for the quality of it. But once, it's the weekend, or it's Friday morning, where I work from home, and you put the pod in, you close the lid, you press the button, and it's just like in the sound that it makes, it's just an experience, right? That makes me feel like I'm, kind of choosing to consume a coffee that is so nice, and I'm not just like making like an instant coffee or something like this. And being an Italian, I feel like it's only right that I spend, um some thought and money on the quality of my coffee. So definitely the coffee machine. Third one for me, living alone. I touched on this briefly. Now, it's not cheap, right? Like London is not cheap. Living alone in London is not cheap, and that's the reason why I've waited 5 years after, of working and being in London before actually deciding to go live by myself. I could have done it sooner. You can, I guess, always done it, like depending. Well, I mean, it depends on how, of course, how much you earn. But I know people that choose to spend 60-70% even of their income on rent, right? So by that 10 years, I could have done it, in my second year in London. But I don't recommend it. I don't necessarily think it's a smart choice, but albeit it's personal choice, so people can do whatever you want. But for me personally, I never wanted the percentage of money that was going to rent to be so high. I ideally didn't want it to be more than like a third of my net income. And so yeah, that meant that I had to wait, right? And so now being able to be at that place, still a lot of money, right? I'm conscious that I could save more money if I decided to still share my living space with someone else. But one, because I've gone about it in a very wise way, right? And adult way, and again, thinking about what percentage of income goes to rent, right? And B, for me, I can afford it, and it's something that I know that objectively just makes my life better. It's I've enjoyed sharing, but I lived on my own for the first time when I was 18. Ever since then, I've just adored it. It's nice. It's not even just about, oh, I don't have to share like the kitchen, whatever. It's really about, okay, I know that now the moment I come back from work, to my place, it's really just about me. I can, put on my own music. I don't have to worry about, oh, will my flatmate have someone over? Will they be in the kitchen? Do I have to wait? All these like things that, for me, especially with the kind of job that I do, I was really craving more of alone time. So yeah, think about it, I guess, for yourself. Decide what really changes the quality of your life. But for me, spending £1,600 in rent is a good decision. Four is a gym. And I go to One Rebel, for those of you that are in the UK. I think they also have branches in Australia, if I remember correctly, in some other countries, but definitely the UK. One Rebel for me is not the top tier. Like, it's not thirst pace, is not one of these like extra uber luxurious ones, but it's nice, upper range, kind of gym that whenever I go in, like, it makes me feel like, yeah, it's a treat. I'm pampered. I look forward to going to the gym, which is probably half the battle. Like, it's just like sleek facilities. It makes it more fun. Today, for example, it's Sunday as I'm filming this. I had a head class, which was freaking hard. And then after that, because my gym offers sauna and cold plunges, I was able to kind of snatch a session after that, right after. And all of a sudden, it felt like I was in a spa, like I wasn't in a gym. It was, like a spa. It was all luxurious and amazing. And I felt like, I was taking care of myself. And yeah, it's just like better. And it's not the cheapest gym, of course. It's not, £20 a month, but it's also not like outrageously expensive. And again, it's something that for me, all things considered, let's say if my hourly wage was actually £50, I would be very happy to work for like 2-3 hours, let's say, to afford this in a month, to afford this gym. So definitely something that has changed the way I live, and just make me feel like I live in a luxurious life. That after the gym, in my list comes something that is going to come to no surprise to anyone, which is trips. Trips are single-handedly the best thing that you can spend your money on.
Also, side note, but I'm not sponsoring my this device that I can't say the name of. Clearly, I wish I was. Would mean that my YouTube channel was doing very well. But I don't like that it looks like that. So maybe we can put this tiny guy in there instead. There we go.
So yeah, so trips are one of the best investments one can make at any given point in time in whatever part of their lives. I think especially when it comes to younger people, it's so crucial that they travel, and especially by themselves, just so life enriching. But also in any stage of life, honestly. I mean, I watched Live, Laugh, Love for the first time some months ago, and great. We love a woman going through an identity crisis and just finding herself in like 3 different continents. It's great. It's just the best experience. Um, you see new places, you meet new people, you get exposed to new cultures, you have amazing food, you experience just so much of life, you meet incredible people, right, and friends, and depending how you choose to travel.
But my favorite way of traveling is with companies like We Road, G Adventures, Kontiki, these kind of ones. I've never traveled with Kontiki, but I know it's a similar one. And because for me, kind of makes, it's the best of both worlds, right? You've got the benefit of being by yourself, right? Because you don't have to organize time with your friends. We all know how, those famous trips that never get out of the group chats, right? So it's a way to not have to coordinate with so many calendars, and also travel for yourself and by yourself, because you have to reach the destination independently. But then also you're not by yourself, right? Because from the moment you arrive, there's a guide, and more importantly, there's so many new people that you're going to be meeting. I've made some great friends through these trips. Some of my best friends still to this day I've met on trips like these. So can recommend.
This enough. And this kind of leads me to my next point, which is any types of experiences, really. And I've trying to become better at this. I'm still not the best at this kind of things, but investing in, let's say, concerts, hikes. And again, these don't even have to be like expensive things necessarily. Like a hike, all you need really is pair of boots. Hopefully you have them already. If not, you can find them secondhand as well on Vinted, and buying the train ticket, let's say, perhaps. I'm thinking about hikes that I would do around London, so just need a train ticket to get to the destination, and there I am. I can just walk around, and it's something that again makes life feel that much like luxurious, richer, right, in experiences and in things. And also it's incredible whenever I have a weekend where I don't just have my typical weekend, let's say, of being home and then going to the gym and you know coming back and like maybe dinner with a friend, but that's it, right? So which is great already, it's a great weekend. But whenever I do one extra thing, let's say I go for a hike, or even I go to the cinema, or I see someone, like a concert, it just makes the weekend feel longer, like so much happens. Reason it's always worth spending money in these kind of activities. The last couple of things, therapy, oh my god, again, goes through phases, right? Sometimes you need it more, sometimes you need it less. But one thing that I've learned throughout the years, and I've gone to therapy now for 5 years, not continuously, but I started in early 2020. But it's just so important as like a maintenance, like you would check in on your car, like not only when it's broken, right, but like just routinely you do like a checkup, or your own health as well, hopefully, right? You don't just go to a doctor when you're sick, but you also take a blood test every few months, just to make sure that everything is in tip-top shape and things like these, right? So I see therapy and taking care of your mental health as part of your maintenance, and it's just hugely important. So there are so many even cheap alternatives these days, right? So you can choose to go in person, of course, and that's always going to cost more. But I personally use Uno Bravo, which is an Italian platform, not too dissimilar from BetterHelp, I think, is a super famous one. Yeah, Bravo is even cheaper, and I'm sure that there, regional counterparts exist for many other countries, right? So just do it. Honestly, I recommend it to literally every single person I meet. Just go to therapy. Like, we all need it, honestly. The last few items for me, these are a little bit more materialistic, I guess, but so I can kind of say them all in a sequence. So good quality clothes. It's no secret by now that if you invest in expensive items up front, yes, it's more expensive, but they just last longer, hopefully, if they're better quality, right? Because that's the whole premise. So in terms of cost per wear, it actually ends up being less than, let's say, if you buy like something super cheap but maybe breaks after you wear it twice, then that's it. So trying to invest a little bit more. I'm still not perfect, but like when I do, I just noticed the difference in quality and the duration and the lifespan of these items. So, and it all makes me feel much better, makes me feel more put together, makes me, yeah, just feel like I'm $1 million. um, and then food, high quality ingredients, same thing, right? Even more important, to be honest, because clothes you put on top of you, food you put inside you, right? It's literally one of the things that affects you the most. So don't skimp out on quality of food that you put inside you. And it's, yeah, for me, Italy, the grocery store is my mecca. Is the place that I go to not that often, but probably once or twice a month, to treat myself and get a few like very high quality items, such as my olive oil, my cheese. I am also Italian, right? So very much living up to the cliche and the stereotype, but it's just makes me feel great, makes me feel like I'm investing in myself, and also makes me feel like I am doing myself good, something that genuinely is positively impacts my life. Finally, I will say, and here we're really going into the splurging territory, right? So I don't do these often. I do them sometimes, and it's exactly when I want to feel, luxurious, and it's very much a choice. But getting my nails done, you can see I don't have them done. 90% of the time I will not have my nails done. I'm very basic when it comes to this. But if I want to be, if I want to feel special, if I'm gonna, pamper myself, and my birthday is coming up in a couple of weeks, so I will get my nails done for then. Uh, and again, I enjoyed the whole process of it.
Not just like sitting down, having someone lick your nails, like, and then the cream that they put on your hands afterwards. It's just great, right? Isn't it? Who doesn't love that?
Similar for my hair, I only ever do this basically twice a year, really, not more than that. But I go to Italy because it's a little bit cheaper, so you can still try to save up when you can. But it's just, again, it's something that makes me feel great. I'm not naturally blonde, but I like to live that blonde life. All these things, try and see if you do them for really for yourself, or because of societal expectations, pressures, etc. I've reflected a lot on these, and I know that all of these things that I'm deciding to spend money on are very much for my own pleasure, and because I genuinely place importance into them. There were things in the past where I would, perhaps spend money, but it was because it was, certain expectations from society, but not things that I genuinely cared about myself. So, little reminder to check in and see, when you're spending your money. Is it because you truly want it, or is it because you feel like you have to, and especially for women, that's very, very true. Anything self-development, right? I'm looking at, a stack of books that sits in front of me right now. So literally my rule is, if it's for self-development, just buy it. Literally just buy it. And this goes beyond just like, the books, etc. Now I'm luckily in a position where even bigger purchases, like, let's say I recently bought the Part-Time YouTuber Academy by Ali Abdal. Maybe some of you will know him, but he's great. He's one of those YouTubers that I've following for literally, I think, 6 years, if not more. And I've been thinking about doing the YouTuber Academy for a long time. It's not cheap, right? It's a little bit less than $1,000. But eventually, Black Friday came around, and I was like, you know what? It's good, 30% discount. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Let me just do it, and I bought it, right? And just a few weeks before, I'd invested in a coach, like a business and life coach. Again, I'm not saying I fully understand that not everyone will be able to just go out and spend like 1K on a coach, but you don't have to spend that ticket item for you to already feel the benefits. For example, for you, that can mean, again, never questioning buying like a self-development book, like a business book, a psychology book, a history book, like something like this. Just doing it, right? That can be like a rule that you follow, or yeah, anything along these lines. For me, it's always, it pays like dividends forever, and you never know actually what one book may even spark you to do. Because for me, for example, when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I think that was the first personal finance book I ever read. Had I not read that, I probably wouldn't have bought my first property down the line, as an investment. I wouldn't have started investing when I was 20 and basically wasn't even making money, right? So I was just investing whatever was given to me by my parents and whatnot. But like, that really started building the habit and the muscle. So in short, you never know what one simple book can have in terms of impact on your life. And so just do it. If it's 15, 20, 25 quid, it's chances are you can afford it, and chances are the results you see from it are going to be amazing and pay back tenfold. So I think we can wrap up this video. I had some other things, like I'm not going to list them all because otherwise I'll literally be chatting to you guys for eternity, which is enjoyable. I'm having a jolly good time. I think I'm probably going to use this setup again in the future with this tiny friend of mine. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that gave you some ideas on things that you maybe want to invest in yourself, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.